Welcome into another edition of the Stripe Show podcast. It is your host, Froggy. Normally you see me on Wednesdays, but every now and then we like to switch it up just to throw you a curveball. So instead of Froggy Wednesdays, it is Froggy Tuesday on the Stripe Show podcast. And as you know, we are brought to you by OnCore Golf. OnCore designs high-performance golf balls for players of all skill levels, all swing speeds. So get fitted for your perfect golf ball today at OnCoreGolf.com. The perfect golf ball for you is not the one you find in the trees, and it's probably not the one your buddy's sitting. So once again, get fitted now at OnCoreGolf.com. We are coming off the Zozo Championship. Congratulations to Hideki Matsuyama on his victory. And we are talking to somebody who played in the Zozo Championship and played very, very well. Welcome to the Stripe Show podcast. Sam Ryder coming off a T7 at the Zozo.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on. What that was a great finish, great tournament. I saw that albatross you almost made on Saturday.
Yeah. Oddly enough, it would have been my second this year. I had one earlier this year in New Orleans.
At the Zurich.
At the Zurich. Not something that happens very often, but yeah, I watched the video. People kind of saw it. They saw the video of it. They kind of saw my reaction to the shot, and I couldn't really. I mean, we were 260 yards away, so I couldn't really tell what exactly was going on. But we kind of thought, me and my caddy Dave were like, did that go in, hit the pin? What was that? So, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good week.
Now that would have been your second. So you've already had one. Have you had an albatross other times just playing golf?
No.
So you've only had one, and that was almost the second.
That was almost the second. The first one was, like I said, Zurich this year when I was playing with Doc Redman, and I hit a sprinkler head on par 5 and took advantage of it.
Hey, man. So, you know what? They don't draw pictures on scorecards.
Exactly.
Have you ever had a hole in one?
I've had, 5.
5. Any on tour?
None in competition on tour.
Wow, that's amazing, though. 5 is a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you have random, like, because I play with Chess and Hadley at Greensboro this year for Wyndham, and he finished 125 on the money list, played great on Sunday, and he had a hole in one on, what was it, I forget, whatever the par 3 was. That was his first hole in one. So I guess that's one of the things. You have guys on tour that have had like 20, and you have guys that have had like none, which is strange. So it's hole in ones are one of those things. It's kind of like you go, there's got to be some. I think it doesn't happen as much on the PGA Tour because you're not really going at a lot of pins.
Right.
But
I'm of the belief that hole in one is more luck than it is skill. And I only say that because I've had 3 and I'm not very good at golf. And so therefore, if somebody like Chess and Hadley, who's good enough to be on the PGA Tour and he's a damn good player, if he hasn't had any and I've had 3, it tells me that skill is definitely not as involved as luck is.
There's definitely an element of luck for sure. And obviously it's a numbers game too, when you're just, number of rounds and stuff. But I've had buddies that played, that are 30 handicaps that play and skull a 7-iron and it hits the pin and goes in. So it's like,
there's no skill there.
There was no skill there.
So talk to us about the Zozo. How that was your best finish of the year, obviously coming off a good year last year. So talk to us a little bit about the Zozo.
Yeah, it was that was my first time in Japan. I actually just woke up, so I'm feeling a little jet lag. It was one of those things where you just, by the time you're getting adjusted, because we were only there for a week, it's like time to go home. So it was a great week. I think the tournament, everyone, sponsors, they did a great job. It was just a little bit of a bummer that we kind of had to stay in a bubble, but that was just to really protect the people of Japan, and it wasn't as much for us. I think it was more so we, based on their protocols. It was amazing that we were able to get it all done and be able to play with just everything in place with what's going on in the world. So the course was amazing. One of my favorite I've played. Like I said, the setup was great. We had a good mix of weather, a couple tough days, a couple windy days, a couple, more gettable conditions. And all in all, it was just a great experience. And I look forward to being back.
It was great to see Hideki win on home soil. I know it was really important to him. And it was funny. He drew a parallel to Tiger had won the Masters and won the Zozo. and he was able to parallel that by winning the Masters and the Zozo in the same year. So I think anytime you can do something that Tiger Woods has done, it obviously gives you an extra added boost.
Yeah, Hideki's a great champion, and it was, I think it was great for the people there and great for the tournament. And it was one of those things because we were on the back nine on Sunday, and you could kind of tell, he's got a little bit of that. It wasn't quite the Tiger effect vibe when it comes to the roars, but you could kind of tell, through the trees, if Hideki made a birdie or something, heard a great shot, it was a little different noise, a little different roar. So yeah, it was really cool. And he's just, like I said, he's a great champion and he's a great player. He's a great person. So yeah, happy for him. Good to see.
It's good to see us being able to play golf around the world again. So you said the protocols were obviously a little different. So things are still, would you say Japan is kind of where we were maybe 6-8 months ago as far as masks and the protocols that are going on versus where we are now?
I think they're just pretty stringent when it comes to the initial quarantine, because because it's a small area and they not as big. I mean, I fully get it, and I think for the most part, anyone coming over there has to do like a 2-week, like a 14-day quarantine, and then after that, it's pretty open. I actually have a buddy who's like my little brother growing up who played basketball at Notre Dame. He's playing for the Chiva Jets over there. So he went through that quarantine process, but once you get through that, you can it's pretty open. So it's not too bad. It was just really the time constraint that we had. So they had to kind of push through the paperwork and the quarantine to basically just be able to get us out to be able to play and get to and from the course. But it was different, but there was all like a very different, I think, almost camaraderie between some of the guys too, staying at the same hotel, getting dinners together. Some things that maybe we don't always get when we're all doing our own things and all over the place, in our own houses and hotels and stuff. And we're kind of forced to have almost a bit of camaraderie where we were playing poker, we're hanging out, playing ping pong, and it was kind of like it's a little different. It was a little different atmosphere, but it was cool.
Right. That's good. It's glad that, we're able to do that and be able to play golf again and go around and travel. I know last year the Zozo was moved here to the States just because they wanted to get it in. So we are getting back to some form of normalcy, which is great. You've had it, but you've been on the tour now. You started on the PGA Tour in 2018, 4 consecutive FedEx Cups. You've been in the top 125 and made the FedEx Cup. Was that a goal of yours coming on? How does that work when you start in 2018? What are the early goals you set to meet?
Yeah, I think it's like you don't even have time to think about anything other than trying to keep your head above water, because the nature of the way the schedule goes, you finish the Tour Championship for the web from then the web.com, now Corn Ferry Tour, and I'm going to Napa for my first tour event the next week. And I think I had a great year when I graduated off that the Corn Ferry Tour and finished second on the money list. So there was a lot of expectations, but when you get out to this new environment on the PGA Tour, it was just a lot of like, it's just you're uncomfortable and you're in a new environment until it's just really impressive to see some of these young guys now that are so ready to win and so ready to play straight from college. I went through kind of the whole process of playing, McKinsey PGA, and I played web.com, and I kind of went through the whole ranking system that they have in place. So I think being on my first year on the tour was the same thing of trying to get grounded and trying to get comfortable and trying to really see where I stack up, because the reality is these are guys that I've looked up to and tried to model my own game after, and it can be a level of surrealness in a way. And I got off to kind of a bad start my rookie year, and it was just really all about, I remember there was kind of a point on my rookie season where I went from kind of looking around a lot and seeing what everyone was doing and readjusting my game to being like, if nothing's guaranteed in this game, and like you said, you have to fight to keep your job pretty much every year unless you get exemptions. But I was like, if I'm going to go if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging with my own game and the things that I did that got me here. So I really just got rooted to my identity more so as a player and just tried to let the chips fall where they may. And, ended up getting through it. But, the game's always evolving. So one of the things they say is if you're not getting better, then you're getting worse. So
right. Yeah.
it's trying to find that balance.
Did you have that moment of like, oh shit, I'm on the PGA Tour? Like, was there a certain player or a certain pairing or a certain tournament or a certain shot where you were like, you know what? I realized I'm here.
I mean, I think I can think of the nerves for playing the safe way, my first event playing, and I had played in the U.S. Open at Erin Hills, and that was the only PGA Tour start I had to that point. I'm trying to think of like specifics, but I mean, really, it was like, I think it was just in general. I think there was just, times where, Henrik Stenson's hitting balls on the range, or I was at Copperhead and Tiger's playing a practice round, and, it's just such a different, it's the same feelings that you get at every level, though, I think, in a way. So I really just tried to draw back to that, whether it was college golf trying to win the first time or
right.
professional golf or whatever. It's hard to think of specifics. I mean, I played with me and Ricky, got paired together, I think, on the last group on Saturday in Houston when we were still at the golf club of Houston right before the Masters. And it was a trying year to that point, but I remember getting paired with Ricky, and it was my first experience with some big crowds,
right.
and we're in the lead, and, I ended up birding my first hole and had all the nerves and all the adrenaline, and, ended up finishing fourth. And that was I played with Cooch on Sunday, and, was able to just kind of barely better Cooch, and just playing with some of these guys that are like been Ryder Cuppers and stuff like that. And you really don't know what's going to happen, but being able to have a certain level of success through some of those times where you're really uncomfortable. And that's kind of what I've been able to draw on the most. And yeah, it's just all about just trying to, I think I've said comfortable like 4 times, but I think that's my key of just being like, everyone has to really gain that. And there's not a lot of, I have a certain level of scar tissue because I played through all the levels, and I've missed cuts, and I've had the down times. A lot of these young guys that have just won and won and won, there's not a lot of scar tissue.
Right.
And hopefully for them, they don't have to have any, but at some point or another, it usually happens. The game is going to humble you to some extent,
Oh, for sure, without a doubt, because that's what golf does. I mean, it does it to all of us, whether you're an amateur or whether you're playing at the highest level. What would you say that you're working on or that you're doing that will help you get to that next level? Because I know you've made the FedEx Cup all 4 years, but now it's trying to get, instead of finishing 109, 110, how do you finish 75 and then make your way to Atlanta?
Yeah, that's one of the hardest things to do. It's just really, gets really dicey when it comes to trying to find weaknesses and things you can get better at without kind of it being detrimental to your game, because I've gone through that time of trying to do certain things, and you almost can lose sight of a lot of your strengths. So I think right now for me, a lot of it is just sharpening more so the things that I do well, and just kind of managing some of my weaknesses, not necessarily trying to turn them into strengths. So like, my rookie year, I was probably like around 180th in strokes gained putting, and I was first in ball striking, and I was second in greens in regulation. So I had a pretty clear idea of what my strengths and my weaknesses were, and then I made a huge jump my next year in putting. But it's like, I don't have the mindset of I'm going to go out there and be Jordan Spieth, or I'm going to be, 2000 Tiger. I'm going to, I just want to have, rein in some of those weaknesses to the point where they just don't kind of cripple some of the strengths that I have.
Right.
And I
so
think
instead of being a weakness, it just can kind of be middle of the road. It doesn't, you don't have to be great at it, but don't be bad at it.
Exactly. The guys that are the John Rahms, the super elites, those guys are great across the board. Justin Thomas, they don't have weaknesses really. But for most of the normal golfers, I say normal golfers, but great players, they have certain things that they just have to be. It's okay to be average or 50th or 75th or whatever on tour. And I think that's a lot of what I'm trying to do with, letting my ball striking kind of be a strength of mine, my iron play, things like that, things that have always been kind of my identity. And I think that's what you see with a lot of guys, and the tour is obviously getting younger, but you see a lot of guys play their best golf in their 30s. And I think a lot of that is because they found out their identity. There's not a lot of guys trying to reinvent the wheel, when they're 32, 33, 34 years old. They're pretty established. You got guys like Kisner, you got guys like Zach Johnson, guys like Cooch, these guys that have had great careers kind of doing it the way they do it. They're not trying to go. I think every kid coming out of college wants to be DJ or Rory or JT or John Rahm,
Right.
And the reality is there's not that many of those guys. And I think people start to find their niche, and you can have a lot of success, being, who you are, I think, instead of trying to be, one of those other guys.
Yeah. Sam, you bring up a good point there in that distance has really become the topic of conversation constantly on the PGA Tour. And I know that a lot of it now recently, as we talk about it, is Bryson driven. But let's be honest, it's the talk of hitting it far has been around for a long time, or trying to hit it farther. And you don't hit it short by any means. I mean, I think your average drive right now in 2022 is 300 yards. That's not short by any stretch of the imagination. Is distance something you've ever chased or thought of chasing?
Definitely. I think I can think specifically to, it was after I kept my card my rookie year, and then I went into the fall the next season and had a couple of good opportunities to win. Almost, finished third at Shriners in Vegas, and missed a playoff by one at Napa. So I basically kept my card in the fall, and then I had a little bit of a disc issue, and I had injuries. And when I kind of had some of this time to sit down, and I also had the comfort of keeping my job already, basically, I got into that. I was like, okay, like, I'm not playing a lot of golf. I also don't have a lot of the pressure to where I need to just go out there with my game and just try and get the most out of it. It was kind of like, what can we do now? What can we, and I think that's right when I really tried to make some actual technical changes in my swing. And I think it was just a product of the whole environment, the Bryson environment. Rory went through the same thing. He's talked openly about it. Guys, look at the top 10 in the world. Who of those guys really doesn't hit it long,
Right.
For the most part.
So what's more important to you, hitting it long or hitting it straight?
I think it's been tough for me to, I think I'm right in the middle. I think I'm right. I mean, I think I'm not, like I said, if you dominate the strokes gained off the tee stat, it's distance driven. Cam Champ can win that stat. Bryson can win that stat, not hitting fairways because they're hitting it so long. That's the way it's measured. For me, I can be a top 20 in strokes gained off the tee, but I have to do it by hitting a lot of fairways, and playing my game. But yeah, I think it's just, I completely had to rein that in. And it's some habits that I got into with my swing that I'm still trying to get out of to a certain extent now. And I think it's just really, it's amazing what Bryson's been able to do. And it's just, I think that's just the shape of the way the game has been progressing. But I also look to guys like Colin Morikawa or guys like that are winning majors and are playing their own games. And there's still so many courses, I think, that you can't overpower. There are certain places where you're like, okay, Bryson, he can just rip driver everywhere here and kind of play a different golf course. Right. A lot of the great courses we play, you can't do that.
Whether TPC Sawgrass right here, and I know you and I are both in the Jacksonville area.
Yeah,
I love that golf course, but you're
example.
Not going to overpower that golf course. You're just not.
Perfect example. So I think that's one of the challenges too with course design and setup. That's really hard, and that's really tough for the officials setting it up and the tournament setting it up. to try and be able to do that without making it, too goofy or too funky.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think the future of our game is necessarily playing 9,000, 10,000 yard courses. I certainly hope not,
Right.
because then it's going to make it a lot harder for guys like me for sure. But
And for
I think
amateurs, I mean, you're gonna make it so amateurs can't score
it's
and
not
can't play golf.
relatable, right?
No,
Like,
not at all. And that's one
yeah,
of the things that's great about our sport. And I've said this before 100 times on this podcast, is that football's great, but unless you're going to go get Tom Brady to throw you the ball, and you're going to have Jalen Ramsey guard you, you're not really playing the sport the way they play it. And the same with baseball, the same with tennis.
right.
Our
I say that
sport,
about basketball too. I was like, you're not
yeah,
going to go play fives with LeBron James,
no, you're not. But
but you
our
can go
sport,
play with John Rahm,
right? Our sport, you can go to TPC Sawgrass, you can tee it up, and you can see exactly what it's like to play from the distances that you guys play from. And that's one of the things that sets our sport apart from all others. But like you just said, if we get to the 9,000 yard golf courses, it's going to be a detriment to the amateur game, which is where we're growing it.
Yeah. Look, I'm not I'm not the guy making those decisions, and I think I put trust in a lot of the people that are the ones kind of governing bodies.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's been controversial, comments from everyone from, Phil to whoever, but like I said, I don't want to be the one that has to control that situation. If there's any kind of insight that, I like, you got a guy like Jason Gore now working for the USGA and stuff, helping with tournament setup. I think from a player's perspective, a lot of us love that because he played and he's relatable and guys like him.
Right.
So we feel like we have one of our guys, and not saying like there's a big battle between the USGA and the tour and things like that, but we feel like we have some skin in the game when you got a guy like Jason Gore in those rooms kind of making decisions too. So I think, when it comes to dialing the driver length and stuff like that, it's not affecting me as directly, but
Yeah, I mean, you're not playing a 46-inch driver, are you?
right. But when it comes, no, I'm not. But when it comes to the amateur game and the professional game, it there maybe there needs to be a little bit of a line there too, because amateurs, it's kind of not the same game in a way, and when guys are teeing it up for maybe a $10 million purse or something, like maybe necessarily shouldn't be the same set of rules because it's not that relatable in terms of what we're doing,
Right.
But like I said, I don't know the answers. I definitely don't have them. And, I trust that, we have the right people, in place to make those. And I think part of the tour with the player committee and everything like that, I think we just got a lot of people that are kind of, I trust to try and lead us in the right direction.
We had Jason Kokrak on last week, and he thinks that golf courses should be set up a little more difficult, that things have become a little too easy. Is that something you would agree with?
A lot of that stuff is just that could be the nature of the weather and the environment too. I think it's a good mix. And I was having this conversation with someone from the tour yesterday, but do fans want to see guys getting beat up and shooting over par? And that's relatable in a sense. But
That's very relatable, by the way.
but guys also want to see albatrosses and eagles and birdies and 64s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I love a drivable par four. I mean, I will sit down and watch a drivable par four all day long because risk reward's great.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some good ones. Whether you're talking about 10 at Riv or Travelers number 615 or whatever it is, but yeah, I think let's just have a good mix. I don't think it needs to be. We don't need to play the same tournament every single week. We don't need to play the same kind of golf course every week. They're all so different from where we're at in the country. I mean, you can make a course like Torrey Pines really impossible if you want to. If you want to have the rough be 6 inches long and the greens be rock hard because they're not usually facing a lot of rain, so they can kind of control the firmness of the greens. But at certain point or another, it just becomes maddening in a way. So we'll see. I mean, I think pretty much any week they could control the rough lengths to where they make it extremely hard. And sometimes you can't do that with the greens because rain or weather can be kind of a determining factor there. And if the course gets soft, there's no course that you can make hard enough for these guys. If they can hit a 5-iron and stop it, on a tier where a pin is, someone's gonna be doing it.
For sure. For sure. So, I mean, you guys are the best players in the world. There is no doubt about that. When I look at your approach game, your iron game really seemed to turn around in July. Is there anything that just clicked? Is there something that changed?
I mean, it's just kind of the same things I've always done. I like to hit a little bit more of I'm kind of a little steeper, a little cuttier kind of player. So I've always been better with my irons. That's been a strength of mine. Like I said, I was fortunate to be, up there in greens and regulation and ball striking my rookie year. And those are stats that I never really thought about. And then when you kind of see it after the fact, I was like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that at the time. But so really, it's just like I validated the fact that those things I do well. So really, I'm just constantly trying to continue to, I have a plethora of old golf swings on my phone from, my web.com days or my rookie year and stuff. And I'm always with my coach, Adam Schreiber. We're always just trying to do little things to tighten things up. And I wouldn't say there's, I was battling kind of getting a little too lifty at the top. My right arm kind of like would get a little disconnected. So I'm really just trying to make sure everything's a little deeper because I'm more of a rotational player. I like to play with a stable, not as handsy club face through the zone, but through rotation.
So you really swing more left. You're more left and more more pronating your arms over.
And so and I couldn't swing, and you kind of get it. I can tell I couldn't swing it left the way I wanted to because it was coming down on a line that was a little too steep. So it became a little too cutty. So path was a little too left. So I basically setting up something that had a little bit more depth at the top in my backswing and allows me to really just rotate, and I can kind of just turn and swing it left and kind of hit more of my controlled shot.
Right. So you're more of a cut player than a draw player.
Yeah. I like to work it. I like to work my irons a little both ways when I'm playing my best, but I like to hit like a cut from more of a zero. If you're talking TrackMan and getting technical, I like to hit a cut from more of a zero path where I'm really using my body rotation to keep the face from shutting than have it be really handsy and swipey or cut across it a whole lot.
What's something you and Adam are working on right now in your swing, like a swing thought that you have going on right now?
I'm trying to get a little bit of, not to get too geeky and everything. Trying to get a little bit more external rotation in my right, basically going back. So I'm like, I have a tendency to kind of keep it this way. My right arm really stays on top, and that's a lot of my pattern from playing baseball and throwing. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more of a feel of the club, kind of getting a little bit of that external rotation to where my right shoulder doesn't get so jammed up this way, and it kind of stays down and back to where I can really just feel the club, widen, transition, and swing it around me, and I'm always trying to work on the same things. People that have seen me, I always do a drill where I keep my right foot back. So I'm kind of like on my left foot, I'm a right-handed golfer. I'm kind of on my left side and my right foot back drill that like Nick Price did. Tons of guys have done it. Just trying to stay in the shot and be able to, rotate around the corner.
There's a lot of talk lately. We always hear people talking about shallowing the club, shallowing. And you said you're more of a steep player. Is that something you've ever worked on, shallowing the club, or is that not something that you need to do with the way that you swing?
Yeah, I've always.
Or is shallowing the club just a bunch of bull crap that's just like somebody just invented it now?
No, I've had a lot of natural shallowing in my move in general, but there's so much to do with your body, and that's one of the great things about golf is we have access to Instagram and the social media and the YouTube channels and all this stuff where guys love to geek out about it and they love to learn, and you can subscribe to, a coaching service or whatever. But, it's so hard because, the way your body moves is probably not going to be the same way my body moves. Right. And unless, there's so many factors involved to where, shallowing is kind of a buzzword for sure. But, back in the day, guys used to always kind of just try and get it on plane. they try to plane it out and then keep it on plane. And now I think that's a little bit, that's part of the power, the power movement is the shallowing is supposed to be, it's like a speed power move a little bit, but it's really hard unless it's something that happens innately, I think, with your body and the way you move and your natural tendencies, then it's hard to kind of create because it's not going to end up being, it's not going to translate into speed when it becomes a cognitive kind of like manipulation of the club and the shaft. You're sacrificing your natural, rotational speed and power, I think, by your head getting in the way of kind of trying to put yourself in these positions. But I don't know. It's just everyone's different. I mean, you watch a Matt Wolff. I mean, good luck trying to swing like Matt Wolff.
Right.
That kid, if he tried to swing a different way, it would probably be a struggle. But George, I think his coach has done a great job of, trying to bring out the best in what he does. I think Butch Harmon's always done that too. I don't think Butch Harmon would get overly caught up with teaching guys about trying to shallow the club out. I think he's old school and he's always had so many different swings and tries to teach guys how to get the most out of their own game and their natural kind of movement.
Yeah, if you look at Butch's best players, I mean, look at DJ, look at Phil, completely two different opposite movements through the ball, but yet both are extremely effective. So, there really is no one swing fits all. So I see that with a lot of guys like, oh, I want to swing it like so-and-so, or I want to swing it like this guy. Well, like you said, your body probably doesn't move like his. Right. And so that thing you're trying to do, maybe your body won't even do that.
Right. You don't even, unless you have a world-class physical therapist or someone, a TPI person that can give you an assessment on stuff like that, you might not even you might have answers to those questions before you even pick up a golf club, physically. So I think being natural, and I do clinics at times and I'm doing, it's really hard because the things I work on necessarily could be almost detrimental for someone else to work on their swing because, I'm also going to the gym 2.5 hours before I go to tee it up. And these guys might be going straight from the parking lot to the tee,
Right.
So
well, I'm sure you see some fun swings during pro-ams. I'm sure you see things hear, and you hear the same, I'm not, what that person thinks he's doing is completely opposite of what he's really doing.
Right. Feel and feel are definitely something that's something that people talk about in golf. And yeah, it's a slippery slope too when you start to film your swing too much, because sometimes you almost be better off not even seeing it and just kind of doing what's natural and what feels right.
Yeah, and if you film it from the wrong angle, you're looking at it all wrong anyway. So
that's true.
If you're not filming it from the hand path and about hand level, if you got the camera behind you or the camera out in front of you at the ball line, it looks totally different. So now you're going to screw up whatever you're doing that maybe was right.
Exactly. It takes a trained eye to kind of know, to decipher through some of those things. You get on YouTube and you start seeing Tiger swings and Anthony Kim and Rory and stuff, and you're like, all these angles, if they're changing just a little bit, because who knows who's taking this video,
and is the camera even steady?
Exactly.
Moving around. I can't help but notice in the background you got an Emmitt Smith jersey, so you're a Cowboys fan, and then I also see over your other shoulder you got a Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons. So who's your team?
No, so actually I'm not a Cowboys fan, and these are just jerseys I bought at Chris DeMarco's charity event over the years. So I purchased a couple of these jerseys. I just it was more of a player driven thing. I mean,
I love Emmitt. I'm a Gators. I love Emmitt.
Yeah, Emmitt's, he's in the GOAT conversation when it comes to running backs for sure. And then Julio Jones, is just a freak, and I mean that in the best possible way.
I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, so I was glad to get him out of the NFC South and over to the AFC, play for the Titans. And the only way we'd have to see him is in the Super Bowl. But right now the Bucs are having an unbelievable run with Brady, and I'm just enjoying it as long as it can possibly last.
Yeah, exactly. They look like they're going to be tough to beat right now, so we'll see. I mean, it's pretty crazy what that guy's doing at his age, and he just looks like he's getting better and better still. So
it is unbelievable. Amazing. I mean, he's 44 years old.
He's not getting hit at all. He's protected. He looks so comfortable just being able to step into throws and just it's like that guy's so dangerous with talk about IQ and,
Right.
offensive
And all the
awareness,
weapons.
stuff like all the weapons he has now too. He didn't have, they had championship teams, but did he ever really have weapons like that in New
Not
England?
like
They always
this.
kind of like at the start of the season, they were like, do we, those guys ended up becoming great players because I
Right.
think he made them great.
Right. Exactly.
But it wasn't like on paper at the start of the year, you were like, oh, look at all these weapons,
No,
with some
I know he had
exceptions.
Randy Moss. I mean, yeah,
With
he
some
had a great,
exceptions.
and he
Yeah.
had Edelman, and these guys were good, but he's never had the likes of Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown, Gronk,
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette. I mean, it's unbelievable the guys he's got around him.
Right.
And it does seem like no matter who gets hurt and what goes down, Brady makes the next guy step up even better.
Yeah. He's a coach. I mean, I'll be interested to see what happens if he ever does step away from the game, but it just feels like if his mind is not involved with the game in some sense or, another, then it's maybe he'll take a sabbatical and step away for a little while after he's finally done playing and be with his family. But it just feels like he belongs in a locker room or something, in the booth somewhere or something.
He's unbelievable. He to me, in my opinion, and I'm a little jaded, he's ended the GOAT conversation in football. I don't know how anybody thinks that Tom Brady is not the greatest football player of all time. It's unbelievable what he's done.
Yeah,
and still doing.
And I think watching watching everything unfold with the Patriots and that, and I think when he initially left, people didn't really realize there was still a little bit of a question marks kind of with the Belichick Brady dynamic.
Right.
And I think almost everyone now, they're just like, okay, Brady.
I'm not willing to say it's 100%, but I think I thought it was 50-50, but I'm
he's
thinking
obviously a great coach.
75-25 now.
Yeah, he's obviously a great coach, but people didn't know, was Belichick making Brady so great or was Brady making Belichick great? And it was like, okay, well, everyone's kind of looking to Brady a little bit.
Well, before we let you go, I want to do our emergency 9. It's never bad to get a quick 9 holes in. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and all you have to do is just give me whatever answer comes to your mind first. You ready?
This sounds scary. I don't know about this.
All right, here we go. They're good questions. I promise they're easy.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Number 1, you buying it on Amazon or you going to the mall to buy it?
Mall.
Really? That's 2 in a row that said mall. I'm an Amazon guy. I'm like, I don't want to leave the house, and this time it'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'm going.
Best shot you've ever hit in your life?
I'm gonna wow, that's tough. I'll default to the Albatross at Zurich this year. That's the easy answer. Probably not the best shot, but I need more time to think.
When you're on the golf course, what kind of music you blasting?
I change it up, but more hip hop than anything else.
All right. Who's your favorite player on the PGA Tour to play with? When you get that pairing sheet and it's like, yes, that's my boy.
JJ Spawn. Actually, it's a tie between JJ and Kelly Craft.
Kelly Craft. All right. What shows are you binging right now?
Honestly, I've been watching Seinfeld.
Really?
I'm old school. I like Seinfeld. I like to keep it light. I think I'm going to binge Squid Game though this week, probably, since I'm not at a tournament.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying Ted Lasso. I haven't watched Ted Lasso yet.
I watched it. I binged that one. It's good.
It's good?
It's good, yeah.
All right, so I have to watch that one. All right, beer, booze, or wine?
Let's go wine.
Wine, all right. Wake up in the morning, head to the golf course. Starbucks, or are you just grabbing a hotel coffee on the way out?
I'm going for the best coffee I can get. I'm a coffee snob.
Okay. Your social media platform of choice: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or are you into the TikTok challenges?
Instagram.
Yeah, I love IG too. All right, last but not least, Halloween right around the corner this weekend. Costume, slutty or scary?
Scary. Let's see if I can scare some trick-or-treaters.
I don't want to dress slutty, but I like the slutty costumes. But yeah, I think if it's for me,
fair enough.
I'm going scary. But actually, here, I'll show you my costume. I have it right here. I'm doing Superman this year.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
I like it.
My abs don't look like that, but it will when I put them on, though.
Exactly.
Well, what's your schedule moving forward? When will we see Sam Ryder again?
I'll be in Mexico. I'm going to play in Mexico, Houston, and Sea Island. So I'm going to be here home this week and enjoy I'm looking outside. It looks like it could be a nice beach afternoon today.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we got good weather today. We'll get good weather tomorrow on Wednesday.
I'm going to take
Thursday, some
advantage of it.
storms, and then Friday be
Take
nice again.
advantage of it.
Yeah, so
early in the week, and then I'll be more in the gym and practicing for the weekend.
Good deal, man. Well, Sam, thank you so much. Once again, congrats on your high finish at the Zozo, and good luck moving forward in the rest of the 2021-2022 wraparound season.
Thanks, Froggy. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. We have got Brendan Todd will be here on the Stripe Show podcast, and I'll be back on Wednesday, so your week will be back like normal next week with Froggy Wednesdays with Brendan Todd. But once again, thanks to Sam Ryder, and thank you so much for listening to the Stripe Show podcast.